Welcome to Super Cool, the show about low-carbon innovations now scaling. Each week, we talk with the founders, CEOs, and executives, winning customers, growing revenue, and capturing market share by turning carbon-cutting ideas into competitive advantage. This is the rise of the low-carbon economy, a multi-trillion-dollar transformation already underway. I'm your host, Josh Dorfman. Before we get into today's episode, I want to tell you about something new from Super Cool. I'm so excited about our new course, the Climate Adoption Playbook. It's for innovators working within climate solutions who want to learn how the most successful climate companies win customers by removing friction, earning trust, and turning climate value into business value. Like this podcast, the playbook distills how today's leaders operate, the adoption levers they pull to scale revenue faster, drive more impact, and celebrate more wins. In truth, I wish I had it handy 2 decades ago when building my first venture called Vivavi, which was a modern, sustainable furniture company. It's everything I've learned since then at places like Amazon, where I launched Vine.com, a natural and organic products e-commerce unit, and Planted, where I co-founded a carbon-negative building materials company, which Fast Company magazine named a world's most innovative company last year. And it's what we've learned now through over 70 episodes of this show. If you're building in the climate space and want to clear away barriers so more customers say yes, check out the course. You can find it at getsuper.cool/playbook. Now, for today's show. One of the more common refrains about Las Vegas is that what happens in Vegas stays in Vegas. I can tell you, after spending 2 jam-packed days at Schneider Electric's Innovation Summit, what happened there isn't staying there. It's spreading to every corner of the globe, every home, hotel, hospital, airport, and office building, every manufacturing plant, every data center, and their most cutting-edge versions, now known as AI factories. All of the planet's infrastructure is coming alive with intelligence. Though Schneider Electric routinely wins awards and sits at the top of many lists as one of the most sustainable companies on Earth, with $38 billion in revenue in 2024 and over 160,000 employees operating in more than 100 countries, I didn't know much about Schneider Electric's business before I flew out for the event. What hit me from the first session is how Schneider operates at the center of the most consequential parts of the economy, bringing together electrification, digitalization, and AI intelligence. The company manufactures essential tech for AI data centers, everything that goes around the GPUs. They build the racks that house state-of-the-art chips. They build the systems for delivering energy, cooling, and connectivity, all prefabricated off-site and delivered to AI factories pushing toward gigawatt scale. It's massive, unprecedented, and vital. So Schneider is a hardware company, a software company, and a services partner. It's a systems-level operator that works with utilities on a platform called One Digital Grid, an orchestrating layer that helps utilities speed up, optimize, and manage an increasingly complex and electrifying grid infrastructure. And as we're going to hear about today, the company is building the intelligence layer that's about to give potentially every building on Earth something it's never had before. Buildings are about to get brains. It's called EcoStruxure Foresight, an AI-enabled operating system for buildings that connects siloed data, contextualizes it, and gives building operators a companion that helps manage everything, the lighting, heating and cooling, all the systems within a building in a timely, proactive, and interactive way. Think about your mobile phone, how connected it is, how it automatically updates, how you now interact with AI on it, talk to ChatGPT or Gemini, how information shows up faster and clearer, telling you what you want to know to run your life and make decisions. Now imagine that intelligence layer, the one you hold in the palm of your hand, inside every building. It understands the complex systems that run our vital infrastructure far better and faster than any human or team of humans can. That has profound implications for energy efficiency, profitability, and resilience. And it comes with real consequences and opportunities for the future workforce. As my guest this week, Manish Kumar, Executive Vice President of Digital Energy at Schneider Electric, tells me this is how future employees will be enticed toward managing vital infrastructure by turning it into one of the most fascinating fields in which to work. Generations born today are AI native. They'll expect every device, every system, every piece of infrastructure to be intelligent and capable of two-way communication. That infrastructure is being built right now, and Schneider Electric is at its forefront. Here's my conversation with Manish. Schneider Electric is positioned in all of these really exciting industries and moments around digital transformation, AI, industrial transformation, building digitalization and electrification. All of these things that in this moment today sound awesome and super cool. 5 years ago, probably not as much, right? A lot has changed in a very short amount of time. And so I'm curious to get your reaction to that and how that feels for you and for Schneider Electric and where the company's positioned today.
I think it's a very interesting question that you asked, and I confirm I have been with the company for over 18 years. There is no better time to be in the space we are in because this space is undergoing amazing innovation, disruption, transformation. Today, electricity consumption is probably 20% in the energy mix. It's going to go up to 50%. Data centers, buildings, all the electrification that is happening. In US, a lot of the manufacturing as well taking stock back. So all of these things are expecting more electricity demand, more digitization, more efficiency, both energy and operational efficiency. And all of that is possible only when we are going to transform the sectors which we are in and really unlock the productivity of people, but productivity and efficiency of our infrastructure and assets.
Yeah, absolutely.
Coming back to your point, I think our people are very, very excited because now they have a chance to be super innovative, prepare the future, invent the future. So I think they're energized.
One of the comments that was made yesterday by your CEO, he said that North America, the US, these markets are vital for Schneider Electric's future. In fact, maybe even the most important market today for the company. Does that also tie into what's transpired over the last few years? Because energy demand or energy consumption didn't rise for a number of years, really prior to COVID. And so does that all relate together, that this is now, we find ourselves in this moment, in this geography, where the capabilities that Schneider Electric has really can come to play?
Absolutely. I mean, US is always an incredible country, which has always been a source of innovation for the whole world. Let's acknowledge that US economy has always been powered by innovation, new companies, new sectors, and there's no different this time as well because there are two things that are happening kind of, reinforcing. One is obviously all digitization and AI sort of taking off, and then it requires electricity demand, right? But we cannot fulfill that demand with the traditional, so we have to rethink about the whole electrical and energy system architecture at the same time. We want more digitization, but we also want more efficient energy power system architecture. So I think it's reinforcing, which is where I think we come in handy,
Yeah, absolutely. So EVP Digital Energy.
Yep.
Yesterday you were on stage, you talked about how you have a middle schooler and some of the things they're doing now around AI and these next generations that are going to be native AI, right? Like I have 3 young kids, they were basically born in the internet. They don't know a world without internet, right? So these next generations won't know a world without AI. When you are talking with your son and you say, yeah, I'm the EVP of Digital Energy, does he go, oh, Dad, that's cool? Like, that's a cool title? Because digital energy sounds awesome, but again, like, I'm probably, kind of making the same point, but 10 years ago, people are like, so is that a thing, digital energy? Like,
it's a fun story because I took my son during the summer to our Massachusetts engineering labs, and I said, spend a day with me. Actually, my daughter is a middle schooler, my son is in 3rd grade, right? So even younger. So he spent a full day visiting the labs, and he came back and I said, how was the day? He said, you guys are in a cool business. He said, you guys are all doing automation, these sensors, and so forth. And I said, okay, so did you come up with an idea? He said, yes. I told the engineers in the lab, we should be able to talk to all these devices and be able to change things. And actually, offline, I'll share with you a video. He wanted to come to Las Vegas. I said, why you want to come to Las Vegas? He said, because I gave the idea to you guys that all our system, we should be talking. And when I observe him, that's what he's doing, watching reels or other things. I think the user experience for that workforce in the future is going to be different than today. And I think we need to start thinking about it 10 years down the line, what expectation the workforce of the future will foresee when they are entering. And in a way, it's very positive because some of the sector, we also have a lack of skilled workforce. I think the more these sectors become kind of exciting, innovative, we'll be able to attract those people. If we invent it, we'll also solve the problem of lack of skilled workforce.
That's a really interesting point, and I think it leads into the primary topic I want to talk to you about today, which is what Schneider Electric is doing around building really transformation, right? Taking these assets that people think of as just, okay, it's a building, it's static, it consumes stuff, but really transforming them, connecting them, digitizing, moving into more electrification. And yesterday you announced the introduction of EcoStruxure Foresight, right? I saw a demo of that on the innovation floor, and you start to get toward the kind of future you're describing, right? Where you have this assistant that is surfacing information. So can you talk about that and maybe the product and the internal journey within Schneider Electric to get to that product?
That's absolutely our attempt to invent the future, prepare the future, and remove some of the roadblocks that have existed through innovations like Foresight. So what are we trying to do? I think a large infrastructure, you can take it from healthcare, data center, a large hotel room like this, all of these, a lot of systems. They are system designed, procured by different people, and sometimes they don't talk to each other well because you haven't thought through that way. So our attempt to that is Foresight will break the silos. We will be able to unify all these systems and have cause and effect relationship. One system, if something happens, it has impact on other, the system will tell you that. So we can solve some of those issues. Second is coming back to the experience and of the workforce. We have less people, less domain knowledge today available versus that demand. So can our system such as Foresight, can we bring all the knowledge? Can we make it even more simple using the tools like machine learning, AI, but also other things that are available around it? Really cut down the learning curve, time, cost to deploy this system, operate, and experiences like what you saw the demo, able to ask the question, give me where the inefficiency is today. What is not working? What are your recommendations? What should I do? I think if you can have a conversation and the system is so intelligent itself because you put all the knowledge there, I think we will increase the velocity of the system. We will be able to overcome some of the challenges of workforce, but we'll overall increase operational efficiency, we'll increase energy efficiency, and so a lot of that saving can continue to propel the growth because then more customers can adopt and we continue to move the frontier forward.
The demo that I saw, it surfaced an issue. So Foresight is connected into all of these systems within a building, or maybe many buildings, right? A campus, across geography, right? Operating in the background, and surfaces an alert that says, hey, you got a problem with a chiller in building 12, and do you want me to go investigate that? Yes. Foresight, investigate that. And it keeps investigating, surfaces what's wrong. It looks like it's this issue. Do you want me to see if we can shut down maybe this chiller and work around it? Yeah, run that analysis, right? So it's doing all of this stuff to be an assistant. What kinds of information silos need to be broken down to make something like that happen? Because you see it is like magic, right? You're like, holy cow. And I get everything you're saying about, wow, if you're entering the workforce with tools like this, it becomes very exciting to start thinking about a career maybe in managing buildings and managing infrastructure that it might not otherwise. But what is the information silos that you're bringing together and contextualizing?
So I would say one is the technology challenge, and the other is how we actually design, build, procure these systems. So I'm going to start with the technology, which is where we are first trying to help. One is the architecture and technology should be very open, flexible, able to talk to everything that is communicatable, right? So any infrastructure, any equipment, any device, you'll be able to talk to, respond back, right? That's one piece of it. So easy to communicate, open, flexible architecture, and also able to integrate fast these systems. The second piece is the data. Data is absolutely key. Intelligence is absolutely key. And intelligence is built on the data that this infrastructure is giving it to you. So we want to make sure all this data, we are able to quickly contextualize and tag and bring it to the intelligence layer. Then it kind of comes back to, Mr. Chiller, I'm just making an example. There is a problem there. Tell me your health. What does problem look like, right? And obviously there's an algorithm behind the chiller, the physics that can tell, okay, what could be the root cause? There could be 3 root cause likely. That is built into the intelligence layer. So if you have that data, intelligence, domain knowledge about that application, then you can have this conversation very, very easily. So we are going to bring all of that into the intelligence layer of the software Foresight. Then I'm coming back to the education and sort of ecosystem piece of it, because we have operated for decades in a very silo world, the whole ecosystem of design, procurement. So we are also working with our leading customers, consulting teams to say, instead of saying, this is one spec, this is one spec, this is one, take the spec at a higher level, at a system level thinking. And when you are designing, you have to think about these use cases and make sure that when you're designing, you have specified the right way and you procure right way as well. So a lot of it is also about education and guidance to our ecosystem. What are the right ingredients should be there when you are procuring, specifying this system as well.
Okay.
So you can kind of, make it happen very naturally. I'm just coming out of a healthcare summit. This theme was a recurring theme among all our customers.
When you talk about Schneider Electric can connect into, let's say, the multiple systems running in a building, and that's hardware,
Yep.
right? So it could be a lighting system, it
Yes.
could be HVAC, it
Yep.
could, like as we're talking about, security. I mean, you name it, right?
Yeah.
It doesn't matter.
No.
Not all of that hardware in the building is going to be Schneider Electric hardware. Right?
Absolutely.
You've got all like this ecosystem of other
Absolutely.
companies, and some are, in certain respects, they're probably customers and competitors.
Absolutely.
It's a really interesting
Yep.
kind of ecosystem collaboration model
Yep.
that you have to operate and get everybody comfortable with
Yes.
to build this future
Yep.
that you're talking about.
And that's where I think the point of openness is super important. I think we are challenging the industry to be far more open because we imagine that best of breed, some sort of specialized application will be procured. But at a level of the software, you need to be able to understand all these systems and be able to build the relationship across systems. So I think if as an industry we go far more open, easy to integrate, the pie will increase and everybody will be able to benefit, starting with the clients. So our approach is we are not going for any closed system. We are going absolutely open system. We are putting the empowerment in the hands of our system integrators, our integrators, so they can easily communicate with Schneider, but lots of non-Schneider equipment which are open.
So open system, need lots of partners, lots of collaborators. And yesterday, someone in your part of the organization was talking about foresight. And the question to him was, how do you roll this out? And how big is the market for this? And almost sort of casually, he said, because to him, it's just the scale you guys operate. He's like, well, we have 200,000 brownfield sites, meaning like we got 200,000 places where Schneider Electric is actually already in the building globally around the world. Now, coming from the outside, not knowing as much about the company, you think, wait, what? So we already have this customer base. And his point was, yes, we're going to go sell to new hospitals. And yes, we're going to go bring new customers in these greenfield opportunities. But we are embedded
Yes.
in the buildings
Yes.
globally where we're now going to run this transformation. And so my question is, and I think you alluded to it, what is that integration like, or what is that evolution like for a customer to say, yes, I want these tools. Is this hard? Can I do it? Am I ready for it? Like, what conversation do you have with your customers?
So maybe before I answer that question, I think if we take an analogy, we have roughly 7 billion population, and I don't know the exact number, but let's say 3 billion people have mobile phone, let's say iOS, Apple phones. Everybody has an operating system, how you operate your day-to-day life. For me, phone is your operating system of managing your day-to-day these days, right? There is no reason we shouldn't believe that every infrastructure, healthcare, hotel, life sciences, airport, data center, they need the same operating system to run their day-to-day life. So we might be in 1 million buildings, but the world is, if you start accounting, there are many, many buildings, right? And I think for us, that's where the paradigm is, how do we equip, enable every building or every infrastructure to has its own operating system that is combining and that's empowering the people who are running that building. So I think the opportunity is huge. The opportunity is huge because we know there is an inefficiency, there is a challenge of skilled labor workforce, there is a challenge of uptime some cases, like healthcare. You don't want the operating theater to be down, right? And then there is a challenge of energy efficiency as well because we know there's energy wastage happening as well. Now coming back to, we are not only focusing on greenfield, we are also focusing much more on brownfield because as an example, in the US, we have a lot of infrastructure that has been built, let's say, 30 years ago, from educational institutions, healthcare, hospitals. I think there's an opportunity to modernize all of that at the same time. And we are entering into a cycle. If you think about it, a lot of this infrastructure, 30, 40 years built, but they are coming to a cycle. Like LaGuardia Airport, we modernized a few years ago. JFK new terminal is getting built as well. So we see a lot of infrastructure ready to be modernized. And that's where it's a moment for all our clients, ourselves, to help to say, let's modernize for the next 2 decades where the workforce expectation will be different. And we have a real opportunity because the cost of technology has come so down on a relative basis. Building an application 10 years ago was harder because you have to do everything from scratch. But now you can do vibe coding and you can deploy some of those things much, much faster. And even upgrade times, in a iOS is very easy. You press a button, right? It not used to be the case with operational technology. But I can tell you with what we are doing with Foresight, we will be able to upgrade our software much, much faster. So people can keep getting more value.
Yeah, I love that. One of the examples you gave yesterday in your presentation, you talked about the Winthrop building in Boston. I hadn't heard about that building, the largest passive house office building in the world. 65% energy reduction compared to a typical building, I'm guessing, of that size. Your technology's in the building. It sounds like that's going to be soon maybe your new office itself. Can you talk about that building and what's gone on there in light of the conversation we're having and how these systems can work?
This shows the art of possibility and potential. That building is 65% energy efficient compared to any comparable building in New England region. We don't have the data for the rest, but that data we have. Now, imagine you can apply the same thing to every building, potentially. So you can save lots of energy. So that's going to be definitely our headquarters in summer 2026 when we'll move there. This is also our attempt, what we call is first impact building in North America. And we came up with this concept called impact building because we said, as a leader, we need to be able to put our technology solution together to show what's possible. Where are the frontiers? What does great look like? So it becomes a reference, benchmark, so that the whole ecosystem can say, I want to get there actually. And it's possible. So that's what we're trying to do with Winthrop Center. So amazing example. We'll love to welcome you in summer of 2026.
Thank you. I'd love to come check it out. Yeah, everything about that, when I heard you talking about it, I was like, wow, that's super cool. That's definitely something that we want to cover. The other aspect of that building, and I know this goes to really the core of how Schneider Electric sees itself as wanting to be the energy partner really to the ecosystem, the industry, pick the industry. But in that building, it's Millennium Partners and Suffolk Group.
Yes.
Right? Now, I know Suffolk Group does a lot around sustainability, but that's something that we've seen just through our own research. I knew less about Millennium Partners, but the larger point is that a real core competence and commitment of Schneider Electric is that ability to partner and collaborate. And it sounds like because you philosophically as a company see a bigger opportunity if you break down those silos and all work together.
And Joshua brought a very good point because we have a part to play, which is we are a technology company. We will bring innovation. But if we have to get the outcome, we have to bring the ecosystem together and we have to be able to collaborate and innovate. And sometime early in the cycle of decision-making process. So Winthrop Center is a great example where a developer, which is Millennium Partners, they had the vision, Suffolk, which is the construction, and Schneider as a technology partner. Right? We came together, vision is here, technology is here, construction, how are we going to bring all that together to get to the outcome of one of the most energy efficient building, right? So I think this is super, super important. As I said, technology is very important, like Foresight, but be able to mobilize the ecosystem and partners and get together. I think we have an opportunity to raise the bar and set new examples and new benchmarks like Winthrop Center.
Yeah, it's really cool. I want to shift and talk about culture for a minute. We were talking just before we came on air, and you mentioned in your early comments that you've been with Schneider Electric almost 18 years. What comes through being at this summit, not just in the executives, but when you walk the innovation floor and you hear people working on different aspects of the company, how long they've been here. The data center guy's been here for 20 years and is still excited about the next 20 years because the next 20 years are going to be more exciting than the past 20 years, right? Like I'd said to you briefly when we were chatting, like I saw that when I was at Amazon. I saw that teams stayed forever. Yep. The work was interesting, but you're a middle manager, your salary's tied to the stock. The stock's going up. Where are you going to go? Like there's nowhere to go. You have to stay at Amazon, but it's a good place to stay. Yeah. Google, same way. Microsoft, same way, right? Yeah. They keep their teams intact, and it's such an advantage versus even other smaller, more nimble startups because you just have these teams and this internal knowledge base. Yeah. There's the same dynamic playing out here at Schneider Electric, and that just struck me as so fascinating that people are staying or are even more energized today because it almost feels like the world has caught up to what Schneider Electric has been trying to do for a very long time, and now there's this convergence, right? And you can sort of see people are really lit up. Do you
see it that way?
Absolutely, absolutely. I can tell you there are two things. One, Schneider's purpose. Being a company that is focused on very strong value system around sustainability, customers, employees, I think that has been always a very important factor. And now the acceleration coming with electrification, automation, digitization, that whole equation, and that is resulting into the impact, client impact. And I think you can relate to that, Josh. We all want to create big impact. So our people, they are feeling that they are domain experts. You have a data center expert, as you mentioned. I'm just coming out, as I said, healthcare expert. The best compliment I got from the panel of 4 customers said, that person, solution architect, is amazing, and he's humble enough. He has been able to give us the best patient's experience in the hospital, right? So people ability and the empowerment to say, go innovate for clients. I think that empowerment piece, domain expertise coming together, and the feeling that they have the tools to be able to create impact is very, very energizing and exciting.
Well, Manish, it's great to be here. It's really, it's amazing to be able to spend this time with you and the other executives at the company, just the team at all levels. We were talking internally at Supercool, just saying like how really deeply impressed we are just at the caliber of the conversation, the presentations, of course, the technology. Just for this summit itself, this innovation summit, it becomes very clear to me, things I didn't realize, how big a manufacturer Schneider Electric is, right? Of hardware, important products, obviously the software, the connectivity, this ecosystem point of view, and then, this real collaboration around all of that to move the future forward. How important is a summit like this to help the business community understand, hey, we're Schneider Electric, we're here, This is our brand, this is where we play today?
Amazing question. We never used to have a summit like that 15 years ago. We started 10 years ago, and this has been a galvanizing sort of event where we bring the minds together. And I strongly believe technology is one piece of the equation, but it's the people, when they come together, the sparks come out. Oh, we can do that. Oh, we can do that. Okay, we can put this thing together. I think that collaboration, when it comes, the art of possible, the light bulbs go on. I think that's where, for me, the magic happens, when people, their domain expertise, the art of possibility, and the conversation. So for us, this Innovation Summit format is absolutely important to create those conversations, build the relationships, and then we say, what can we do together as innovators to lead a larger ecosystem? And we also want to be challenged to say, okay, maybe there are things we are not saying from the conversation. Schneider, you can do that. Maybe you don't know. Okay, let's go back to the drawing board with our people, innovators, and that helps us keep pushing the limits of what is possible.
Awesome. Well, it's great to spend some time with you. I really appreciate you coming on Supercool.
And Josh, thanks for coming and visiting. I hope you had a lot of fun at Innovation Hub as well. You managed to put some hands into the technology, talk to our experts, and again, really appreciate your time.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And thank you for listening today. If you're enjoying Supercool and appreciate the conversation we have around climate, innovation, and the future of commerce, please take a moment to subscribe. It's the best way you can help us reach others who would benefit from these conversations too. See you next time.